What's going on, everybody? Welcome into Chicago Bears Now. My name is Harrison Graham, here to react to the Case Keenum signing that went down a couple of hours ago. I was on daycare pickup duty, had to get my son, do some things around the house, and then when I got home to my at-home studio, some tech issues, so this is what you're getting. Hopefully the quality is perfectly fine. But listen, this is why you subscribe, because regardless of how we get here, regardless of how we're going to get it done, we are going to bring you guys a video when the Chicago Bears make a move. So hit that subscribe button and turn on those notifications. All right, my name is Harrison Graham. Case Keenum, we talked about him earlier today on the live show that he could be someone that the Bears sign as a veteran quarterback. Kudos to Adam John's podcast. They had Ryan Poles on the show yesterday, and a topic they dove into was the idea of signing kind of a veteran mentor type, not a fringe starter, not even a high quality backup who still has starting aspirations, like a Jameis Winston if he was still available, or even a guy like a Carson Wentz. But someone who has been there, who's done that, who's been around the league for a while, high character guy who would fit in and understand his role. Because not only do you not want to create any kind of friction or pressure for Caleb Williams heading into year two, Poles and Johnson really like Tyson Bagent as well. Like, they view him as the backup. Now, Case Keenum might have a chance to compete to be the backup, but I don't think this is the goal of this signing is to increase competition for QB2. The goal of this signing is to have an extension of the coaching staff in that quarterback room, mostly for Caleb, but also for Tyson. Two young quarterbacks trying to take steps forward in this league. Chris Emma, who covers the Bears for The Score, tweeted out that a source told him that he will be great for Caleb Williams. Jason McCourty, NFL Network, who played in the league for a long time, said that Caleb Williams is having a hell of an offseason with getting Ben Johnson and a rebuild offensive line, now adding Case Keenum to the room. Like, Case Keenum is a guy that is viewed in a very positive light. And that shouldn't be surprising. Why? Because he's almost 37 years old, and despite being an undrafted free agent and not ever having great physical tools, he's lasted in this league for 13 years, going on year 14. That doesn't happen by accident. Guys like that, and in his case, and we'll talk about his experience, who had to fight to just get to the league, you know why they last? Because they're great in the room, they're great teammates, and they don't bring egos, and they're not distractions. Case Keenum is what you want in a backup quarterback, or even now in a QB3. And he's been through all of the experiences, right? He was undrafted out of Houston, had to fight to make a roster, made the Houston Texans, went 0-8 in his first 8 career starts. I mean, think about that. Like, you're thinking, okay, this guy forced into action, 0-8, only completed 54% of his passes in 2013. Like, he's just not going to make it. He's not going to last. Well, he sticks around. The next year he gets 2 starts, wins both of those. Next year ends up in St. Louis, goes 3-2 as a starter, just slowly improving, completion percentage. 4 touchdowns to 1 pick that year. The next year with the LA Rams, when they relocate to LA, starts 9 games, goes 4-5. And then in 2017, after being a part-time starter, mostly backup, he ends up with the Minnesota Vikings, and I think they had Sam Bradford, who went down early. He starts 14 games, goes 11-3, completes 68% of his passes, over 3,500 yards, 22 touchdowns, 7 picks. Leads Minnesota to the NFC Championship game. Remember the skull chant? I know my guy Patrick Seatman does. Just a magical year. And his leadership was a big reason of that. Case Keenum's not the most talented guy. He's 6 foot, 6'1", okay arm, okay athlete, but he's smart, and his teammates love him. Like, this guy has stuck around, made a decent amount of money, mostly as a backup, because he's a great teammate, because he's smart, because he understands the game. This guy has a future as a coach if he wants to do that. The next year, Denver gives him a decent contract. They only went 6-10, but he started that whole year. And since then, he's been mostly a backup. Backup in Washington, started 8 games that year. Backup in Cleveland for 2 years. Buffalo for a year was with Josh Allen. Last year, he was the third quarterback. Or the last 2 years, he was a backup 2 years ago and a third-string quarterback this year behind C.J. Stroud and Davis Mills. But teams love him. He keeps sticking around. Bears giving him a 1-year, $3 million contract. Why? Because they believe in what he brings to the table. Ryan Poles emphasized it needs to be someone that fits in. It needs to be someone who understands the role. It needs to be someone that's not going to ruffle any feathers in that room. That is Case Keenum to a T, because he's had to fight for everything. Everything. This guy set records at the University of Houston, went undrafted. Finds a way onto the field, finds a way onto a roster, bounces around, makes plays. Great backup, great mentor. Like, this is the perfect guy for Case Keenum, or for Caleb Williams, because he's no threat to start, and he's fine being the third quarterback. Hey, $3 million, sign me up. I think the Bears will carry him on the 53. I don't think this will be like last year with Brett Rippon, where they cut Rippon and hoped he'd be back on the practice squad and someone else scooped him up, Minnesota. They will keep this guy around. I'm very confident in that. They will keep Case Keenum around this season, and he will have value because he can be a guy that goes out, for dinner with these guys. Because Poles talked about, look, we have JT Barrett. He's a young coach. He will have a big impact on Caleb, but then he goes into the coaches' meetings and he's doing the extra game prep when the players are out of the building or whatever the case may be. Case Keenum can hang out with the guys. He could be in that QB room. It's the perfect intermediary between coaching staff and starting quarterbacks. So I'm fired up about this. Fun little nugget here, just personally. I don't know Case personally, but he grew up in the same high school as me. He's going to be 37. I was 31. I remember when I was in middle school, he played at Abilene Wiley High School. Grew up in Abilene, Texas. Not a tiny town, 130,000 people, Central West Texas. And he played at Abilene Wiley. I played at Abilene High, or went to Abilene High. And I remember when I was in middle school, I mean, this guy was a legend at Wiley High School, just tearing it up, setting records, goes to the University of Houston, does the same thing there, right? Just puts up huge numbers. And just everything you always heard about this guy is just how great of a leader he is, how easy he is to deal with. He was everybody's best friend. Like, he's just that type of guy, just a normal guy. And I think this is something Caleb and the Bears were lacking last year. It's just like someone in that room who's done it all. Been a starter with high levels of success, been a starter who's struggled. 0-8 his first 8 starts. Been a quality backup. Been a third stringer. Fighting to make a roster. Like, he's gone through all of the experiences. He's played in a bunch of different offenses. He's seen it all. Like, this is the perfect signing because, again, he's not going to threaten Caleb or probably even Tyson. Like, I guess if Tyson really struggled in the offseason and in the preseason camp, Case Keenum could be QB2. But I don't think that's what this is. This is, let's get a third guy in here, come be a vet, be an extra voice, help Caleb grow, help Tyson grow, and just be one of the guys in the mix. Get along with everybody. Low maintenance. Like that is the number one thing teams look for to back at quarterback. Are you low maintenance? Because if you're not, I don't really want you on my team. Right? It's why I kind of thought a few years ago when Carson Wentz got phased out as a starter, I was like, he might be done. Because he's kind of viewed as, is he a great teammate? And I'm not saying he is or isn't, but reputations travel. This guy has a crystal clear reputation. Talking about Case Keenum. Crystal clear reputation. No questions whatsoever. You're seeing all the reaction among guys who played in the league. I mentioned McCourty. Reporters who are getting information on this. Like, high character, high level guy. Smart guy too. Like I said, he's a future coach if he wants. If he wants to be a QB's coach in the NFL, he could probably do that in a few years. If he wants to be a head high school football coach, there's probably 50 schools in the state of Texas that would hire him immediately. Kind of like Teddy Bridgewater, right? Who Detroit brought back last season after he led his high school to a state championship. He joined them for the playoff run. So I'm excited about this. I'm not trying to make it more than what it is, but don't undersell this move. This is a calculated signing by the Bears. I give it an A+. I I think the Bears really could have used someone like this last year, and now they've got it in their locker room. All right, let us know how you feel about the signing. Give it a grade, A, B, C, D, or F. My name is Harrison Graham. Again, sorry for the slight delay and tech issues, but there you go. Case Keenum, a Chicago Bear.